heavily on pentatonic sounds, minor and some major that we're going to play. And it's very different than the music of Crete, for example, the island of Crete or the Aegean Islands, completely different. A lot of slow tempos, very heavy pieces, sad lyrics as well. The music doesn't sound always happy in Epirus, but we apply this music to local celebrations, from the weddings and the baptisms, and also sometimes in the funerals as well, and in concerts.
Very good. Well, why don't you give us an example of some of your music?
Yeah, we can play Skaros. It's the shepherd's song. It's rubato. It doesn't have any rhythm. And you will hear all of us improvising a little bit. Okay, it's the shepherd's song. Thank you, thank you.
Very good. Wonderful. So I'm going to turn now to the gentlemen who are just to my left here. Ricardo Pereira, thank you for coming here and joining us.
Thank you.
Yeah. And and also he has with him Antonio Pereira, I believe?
Yes.
Yeah. Very good. So, and we also have Michael Mendonza with us, who's going to help us do a little interpretation. He's been a good friend of the group and is really knows a lot about the history of a music called fado. And so I might ask him really quickly to give us a little bit of the history of the music and sort of where it comes from.
Hey, David Mendonça. Fado is a music that has a documented history that's about 200 years long. The fundamental setup in this music is the two people you see here, so Portuguese guitar, and we call it the viola, along with one singer. And there are a lot of dynamics in the fado, and one of the really essential dynamics is that the singer and the Portuguese guitar share melodic duties. So depending on where they are in the song, that responsibility will shift. and somebody's got to keep everything on track and in balance, and that's him. The viola has this awesome responsibility to keep everything moving forward and on track. So that's, I think, the first thing to mention about the fado. And then the second one I'll mention, of two, is that the fado, when we say fado, we're talking about the music. No lyrics. We don't have a notion of fado having lyrics. There are lyrics that go with the fado. So there's a list of fados, and there's a list of lyrics, and it's possible to pair lots and lots and lots of different combinations. So it's very unlike, pop music. And I guess my bonus info here is that there are no choruses in traditional fado music. It's all strophic. Okay, so good.
Yeah, and we had a great conversation backstage because it's very similar to, in the American context of 19th century sacred music, particularly in the South, where you had tunes that had names, and then you had the words. So as the example I used was the song that we know as Amazing Grace was first written down with a completely different melody than the one that we're familiar with. And so it wasn't that unusual to have music, traditional music, where the music and the words were in a way two separate component parts. And so I'd ask both of you, tell us a little bit how you came to the music and learned it.
You want to start? Or?
You start. Okay. Hi everyone, and thank you for being here with us with this weather. I'm Ricardo, and I belong to a family, Portuguese guitar player family. My brother, he's a Portuguese guitar player too, and my father too. So if we don't play in my home, we don't have dessert.
So it's a family affair.
Yeah, I play Portuguese guitar. This instrument. We have two different types of Portuguese guitar. We have the Coimbra guitar and Lisbon guitar. This guitar, she's a Coimbra guitar, but the tuning of Lisbon, because the tuning of the two guitars, they are a little bit different. So
lower, right?
yes, the
tone lower.
The Coimbra guitar, it's a second down from this guitar, and the history of the instrument. Nowadays, we think the Portuguese guitar became from the European sitar. It's an instrument with eight strings. The tuning, we think it's very, very similar to the Portuguese guitar, and the Portuguese guitar enter so the European sitar, enter in Portugal. In the north of Portugal, because we do a commercial. We have a commercial. Como é que se diz negócios?
Business.
Yeah, we have a commercial business in the 19th century.
So other
with England.
things were flowing into that area.
Yes,
so the guitar
the
kind of entered with
yes,
that. Yeah.
By a city called Porto,
Yeah.
or Porto, in the north of Portugal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ricardo, how did you also learn from family? Was this a family tradition?
Yes, I did. I started with actually my parents. My parents, they live in Azores, and even like in the capital, I started in the rock band. Imagine, rock band. Then I came to the United States, and I miss Portugal so much. I was listening to the fado, the lyrics. I said, "Oh, this is touching my heart." And I said, "You know what? I'm going to get old. Carrying those amplifiers and all this stuff, getting old is going to be tough for me. Even my guitar now, with the case, it's getting a little heavy. And so I switched for a fado, because fado was touching my heart. And I miss my country so much, especially the food.
That's a really interesting thought, because it's often been said that sometimes traditional musics from other countries were preserved better in the United States because people like the Irish fiddler Michael Coleman, who became this incredible, icon of Irish fiddling, because he was recorded in the United States. And there was nobody recording fiddlers in Ireland at the time. And so his music became definitive of Irish fiddling, which is just this really interesting idea of how music is transmitted over time and space. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I should also say, I always love this story so much. The Portuguese took their instruments everywhere. People don't know that the original ukulele in Hawaii was designed by Portuguese instrument makers.
Really?
Yes, who were brought there from the islands to work in the fields.
Okay.
So the influence is worldwide.
Okay, so we have a Portuguese ukulele.
Exactly. So play us a little bit of some fado music.
Sure.
And again, as David pointed out, remember this traditionally would also be accompanied by vocals, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So we will play a piece from our first and great Portuguese guitar player called Augusto Armando Freire. We diminished the name for Armandinho, and the piece called Meditando.
So sort of going in chronological order here. We're now going to hear from a couple members of a great group called the Crooked Road Revival, who are here at the festival. Yeah, I hope some of you caught them earlier in their sets.
Thank you.
Crooked Road is this wonderful place you can tour. You can drive. It's a long drive, and some of it's up through some big mountains, but it goes through the Blue Ridge and Allegheny Mountains and includes all kinds of places where this really classic American music was born that we call bluegrass. And so there's some aspects of gospel, like the vocal components, and particularly the harmonies, I would say. Yes. Largely come out of the church. The instrumentation, of course, we have the banjo, which originally is kind of modeled after African instruments and came to this country with enslaved people, and then kind of morphed into its current form because originally the bodies would be made of gourds or of wood. And then, of course, we have the mandolin, which is a European instrument that kind of was adapted to the music. So there are a lot of different elements that created bluegrass roughly in the 1940s and 50s is when it really emerged as a genre. And I guess I think of, most people say Bill Monroe, but since I live in Virginia, Ralph Stanley is the person who I would say is really defines Virginia bluegrass. Of course, there's been many, many great players. So we have with us Rusty Breedlove. Give him a big hand.
Thank you.
Who's going to be playing some banjo for you. And we also have Brian Blevins, who's going to play the mandolin for you. So I would ask both of you a similar question. Tell us a little bit about your background and how you started to get into this music.
Actually, my family was real into bluegrass, so I kind of grew up in it from when I was probably 12 years old. My dad and my uncle were big-time musicians, and I started with guitar, this guy's here, and then kind of went to banjo. I always loved the banjo, the way it sounded and everything. There's actually two different banjos. There's a 4-string banjo. It's called clawhammer. You probably heard that. That's a little different style than this,
Yep.
It's more,
A little more percussive.
Yeah, percussive, yep.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I always attracted to the 5-string. My dad actually played, but later in life he went to guitar. So.
And you grew up in an area where this music was everywhere.
Hotbed, it's where Ryan lives. Actually, it's really hot there. I'm about 2 hours from him, so we play a lot.
And where do you live now?
I live in Salem, Virginia. It's
okay.
Roanoke.
Yeah,
area.
near Roanoke. Yeah.
Yeah, I always say Roanoke because a lot of people don't know where Salem is. It's like a little small place. But, it's a hotbed. I mean, they're everywhere.
And the banjo is a little different from other instruments here in that it has that short 5th string on the top.
Yeah.
And that really
string.
defines in many ways the approach that you use to play the banjo.
Yeah, it's all about rolls. You roll with the banjo, which these guys play with picks. One pick, which is probably a lot more talented because you've got a lot more notes. I got 3, so I can get 3 notes out when he has to do 1. So it's pretty tough.
It's a beautiful instrument in that for me at least, it combines rhythm, a powerful rhythm, with the melodic element, which is really cool. Because as you can see, it has a skin head. Well, traditionally would have been a skin head.
It was actually a cat skin. Yeah. And they were a lot more weather. Really messed with them. They were a lot more. They weren't as tight, kind of as these. This is actually a plastic head. It's made out.
Because the weather affected those skin heads terribly.
Gosh, and it affects this today. Is humid days. It really affects the banjo. It kind of mutes it. But
Brian, where do you live?
I live in a small town called Marion, Virginia. It's near the Virginia-Tennessee border, near Bristol, Tennessee, Virginia area. Kind of like Rusty. I grew up. My father played guitar and mandolin, so when I was 6 years old, I asked for a banjo for Christmas, and hesitantly, my dad bought me a banjo, and that's what I played for most of my life until I met this guy, and he was such a good banjo player. I learned to play mandolin so I could have someone to play with.
He had to go to mandolin so we could, because I can't play anything else, not as good as he can.
Whatever.
He's a talented guy.
And this is not your really traditional mandolin here. This is made of carbon fiber. I basically got this for travel. So much easier, throw in the overhead and not worry about it. I typically play an F style that's modeled after the Lloyd Loars from the 20s, made by an Englishman, Sim Daly. Beautiful instrument. But as far as travel, this just makes it so much more easy.
Oh yeah.
Great. Why don't you play us a tune?
We're going to do you one. It's kind of a fiddle tune called Big Scioto. Does that work? That's it.
Thank you. Thank you. This guy's really talented. I just hang on to his shirt tail.
Beautiful, absolutely
he's
beautiful.
a great musician.
And, you know, I probably should, we're talking about stringed instruments, there's a clear parallel between the instruments from Greece and the mandolin, right? Because you have the doubled strings.
Yeah.
Actually, a lot of similarities in the music that you played. We're looking at each other because some of the lines that you played reminded us some lines that we play in the northwestern part of Greece. I was very surprised, and in the sound check today, to hear this line, because we have the same line.
Yeah, I noticed that. There's a lot of similarities.
It never fails in these sessions that music is really a universal language.
He's actually got picks, you know. Did you notice?
Yeah, I know.
He has finger picks. I
Very
noticed
interesting the way the picks are shaped there. Yeah. Gives that nice bright, kind of attack to the tone. Yeah.
I like that. I like to see.
Well, all of this has been in absolutely beautiful music, and we probably have one more time to go around one more time and hear maybe another selection and any other thoughts that you have of things that you would like to communicate about the music to people who have no background at all in it. And what it, I think what you made, a point you made earlier that's really important is what the music is for. And right, it's for community events, and that's an important part. You know, we see people here, in a way, we're taking all this music out of context, right? Because its use in the culture that it comes from is different.
Exactly. And also something very important in these types of tradition, please correct me if I'm wrong in this, it's very important for us to be close to the master musicians who defined this tradition, right? And one of those musicians was Petrolukas Chalkias, the master of the clarinet, who passed away last month at the age of 91 years old. And today is his birthday. He was the master of the clarinet of all times in Greece. He lived in New York for many years. He came back to Greece, and we were so much in touch, and it's very important to be close to the masters of these traditions, to learn from the source. And then present this in the US, which is very, very important. Not only the community events back home, but also to people that are open-minded enough to learn some information about this tradition.
I'm glad you brought that up, because a lot of the humanities groups in the United States have been losing funding, and one of the core things that many of them do, for instance, in Virginia, we have a master apprentice program where we match up people who are true masters of their instruments with younger people so that those traditions continue. So I really appreciate you mentioning that.
This happened with an apprenticeship grant in Boston. Between 2016 and 2020, a young violin player called Lysander Jaffe studied with me for 4 years. He reached a level in Greek traditional music. He came back home. He was in the same stage with the master of the clarinet, Petrolukas Chalkias. I asked him to play for 2,000 people the Epirus Lament, the most significant piece we have. 2,000 people were standing and clapping for an American classically trained violin player because of the apprenticeship program. So please keep doing what you're doing. It's very important. It was a strong message back home. Absolutely.
Yeah. And all of us can do our part too in supporting these kinds of programs. Absolutely. Well, please grace us with another song, if you wouldn't mind.
Yes, yes.
You know, I love it.
Beautiful. It's a great way to start the day.
Oh, that's unbelievable.
That's one of the fun things I love about the workshop so much is watching the other musicians watch the other
Yeah.
musicians because they
Yeah, it's
always have
pretty
a big
impressive.
smile on their face because it really is. It must be so cool to see other
Really,
traditions
really
like
awesome.
this. Yeah. Well, to turn back to you gentlemen, and would you like to give us another fado tune and maybe a little history of it?
Yes, yes, of course. Vasilis, talk about a very important point. It's the masters. So, and in the fado, never. It's not possible to do it without our masters too. They are very important. I'm fortunately, I'm a son of a great master of Portuguese guitar, and he has a lot of students, and I have a lot of colleagues, and they are learned with my father, and I remember when I was very young, I go with my father to the fado house. The fado house is a typical restaurant that we have in Portugal, and I only stay there, listen and watching my father plays. So and I absorb this information, and it's very and there is no we don't have another way to learn.
Yeah, I mean, as David said, there's
Yes.
you don't go to school to learn this music.
Yeah,
This is
yeah.
transmitted. I mean, you can obviously become a great player
Yes, yes.
through
We
classical
can go.
training.
We can
but,
go to school and.
but the heart of the music and
yes,
growing up
the-
with it is so important.
yeah.
Yeah.
May I add up something that's very interesting. His father is a master, yes, a teacher of the Portuguese guitars. If you know, I think a lot of people knows about the fado, Marisa, Ana Moura, Camané comes to Berkeley, right? And all those guitar players came to Boston to perform for Marisa and the other fado singers. They were students from his father.
Wow.
Yeah.
Very
That's
cool.
awesome.
Yeah.
I love that.
The tradition continues. It's wonderful.
Vou dizer que é uma peça para guitarra portuguesa.
Só para guitarra portuguesa.
I will
Só
play
para
for you. I will play for you a masterpiece that composed by a great composer called Carlos Paredes, and this piece is written just for Portuguese guitar solo.
I see you turning. Yeah.
It's the weather.
It does.
It's humidity.
It messes.
Yeah.
Messes with it.
Stringed instruments don't really like this humidity too much. Well, we'll end with Rusty and Brian. And one thing that, since you were with this band called the Crooked Road Revival, could you say a little bit about the Crooked Road and sort of what it's meant to your music? Because it's really kind of a remarkable music trail.
Yeah, the Crooked Road Music Trail, they started getting funding around 2004. And as he was stating earlier, it's a U.S. Route 58, runs through a lot of the hotbed, as Rusty was talking about, of bluegrass and old-time music. And there are just a lot of small theaters, amphitheaters, different venues across that area. Do you know exactly how many miles that is? That stats left me. It's over 250 miles, I think.
It is over 250. I don't know the exact distance, but it's a long road.
So if you ever get the chance to get down to Virginia, make sure to make that a point if you like that style music. There are just jam sessions going on different times of the week, and that's the way that a lot of folks learn bluegrass. They're not really classically trained as much as that tradition passed down, as you were speaking of. With the Portuguese music, I learned a lot from my father, just the same as Rusty did, and then other friends in communities. We would have maybe a Monday night jam session where folks would get together and everyone's welcome, and you just play no matter your skill level and build on that.
Yeah, I mean, I remember going to Ferrum and the Dairy Queen. They had a jam there.
Ferrum.
Yeah.
I'm not far from Ferrum.
Yeah, you're pretty. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm close to Ferrum. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's really a wide range of kind of venues that they have, and it's great too because again, you can go and see the music just as it's played by local folks in their communities. Yeah. And I think there's a real benefit to that for sure. I should also mention that bluegrass typically would be a larger band. So, and are you guys playing again today?
Yeah, we got to play.
We're playing St. Anne's at 2.
Okay, great. So people can go see the full band. But typically, as the bluegrass band expanded, you had the guitar, you had the double bass.
Yeah.
Usually you have a fiddle player. Yeah. Not always, but usually. Yeah, there we go.
What do you guys, you don't call it, you call it a violin probably, don't you?
Violin, yes.
Violin, yes.
Yeah, people always ask that question. What's the difference between a fiddle and a violin? And really not much.
No, there's no difference. I mean, this guy's very talented.
It's just the way you play it.
Yeah.
Well, go ahead and give us one more tune from your.
You mentioned Bill Monroe earlier, Bill was one of the first in Americanized bluegrass that actually played lead notes. It was mostly used as a rhythm instrument previous to Bill. So I think that's a large reason he was considered one of the fathers of bluegrass, because he brought more of the violin, fiddle tones, playing lead notes along with it. So we're going to do one called Wheelhouse.
notice, Ryan, he plays a lot of notes, so, you know, kind of like these guys do. And I kind of, the role of the banjo kind of fills everything, you know.
Yeah, your melody is kind of built into the rolls,
Yeah, it's a roll.
right?
It's kind
so
of
it's
a
a little bit
rolling-
different.
Yeah.
And that's it. It's the drive of the song.
Yeah,
You can feel
yeah.
that rolling movement of the banjo as it rolls through.
Kind of like these guys, you guys do.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm
So
sorry.
the company kind of fills in the little voids and stuff, you know.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I call it.
Yeah,
anyway.
yeah. So,
But go ahead. What was you
well, I
gonna
was just we had an earlier conversation backstage about the role of improvisation in the music.
Oh, Lord.
And one of the differences between like what we call old time music today and what you guys play,
Yes.
which is kind of built off of it, is that you do improvise
A lot
with
of
it,
improvise.
a lot of improvisation,
A lot of bluegrass.
within a form though, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Right. So you get your core melody, and then there's a fair amount of improvisation within that.
Something
Is
you
that
feel-
also true with your music?
I'm sure that I can tell, and you guys
Yeah.
too. I can hear it.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
what you're feeling that day. Kind of feel something feels
Yeah.
good to you, and you do it. You know.
That right.
Yeah, it does. It's true.
Well, I just have to say this has
think
been
all
a
music is
fantastic session. I want to thank all of the artists here. Please give them a big round of applause.
Thank you for coming out.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Rainy day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I hope you all learned a little bit about the backgrounds to music and get out there the rest of the day and see some more. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Thank you for coming.
That's funny. I was